Okay, we're just going to talk about some expansive diaphragmatic breathing. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to train the diaphragm muscle. So we're trying to improve both the strength and the flexibility of the diaphragm muscle. And this is going to increase the volume of oxygen that we can take into the body and therefore help with our sports performance and our recovery. I'll talk a little bit more about the benefits at the end of the video, but I just want to run you through some breathing drills that we're going to use to improve the strength and the flexibility of the diaphragm. So this is going to be a 6-minute drill, and it's going to have 3 phases. In the first phase, what we're going to try to work on is inhaling through the nose and expanding through the torso, so pushing the stomach out, pushing it to the sides, pushing it to the back, and really thinking about moving the diaphragm down as far as we possibly can. After we've fully inhaled and expanded, we're just going to do a reflexive exhale. Okay, so just letting the air come out, not really focusing on breathing all the way out, but just letting the stomach sink and push the air back out. Inhale through the nose, exhale slightly through the mouth. We're going to do that for 60 seconds. When we get to the end of the 60 seconds, we do a full inhale through the nose and expand, pushing the diaphragm down, and we'd hold the breath for 60 seconds. That's the end of phase 1. When we move into phase 2, we're going to be doing the opposite. So as I exhale, I'm going to breathe out through the mouth, and I'm going to think about trying to pull the diaphragm up underneath the rib cage as much as I can. So we're working the opposite end of the extremity of the diaphragm, moving up. We're going to inhale again through the mouth, and this will just be a reflective inhale, and then breathe out forcefully and lift the diaphragm up. Again, we're going to do this for 60 seconds. At the end of this 60 seconds, we do the full exhale, lifting the diaphragm up, and we're going to try again to hold the breath for 1 minute, focusing on pulling that diaphragm up. The third phase is working both extremities. So we're going to be trying to breathe in through the nose and push the diaphragm down, expanding as much as we possibly can. And then we're going to exhale through the mouth and lift the diaphragm up as much as we possibly can. So full end of the spectrum, breathing all the way in, breathing all the way out. We do this for 60 seconds. And then again, we're going to do a full exhale and lift the diaphragm up as much as we possibly can. And again, hold for those 60 seconds. So if you've done this before and I've just reminded you of the 3 phases, feel free to jump ahead. I'm just going to go through and demonstrate what those phases will look like right now. So phase 1, full inhale through the nose, expanding, and full exhale through the mouth, okay, and just relaxing. So it looks something like this, lying on the back, thinking about breathing in through the nose, pushing the stomach up, okay, moving the diaphragm down, and then so we do that for roughly 60 seconds. When we get to the end of the 60 seconds, we'll just do one more breath in, and we'd hold that. So it would just be a matter of breathing in through the nose, forcing the diaphragm down and holding that breath for 60 seconds. You may start to feel a little bit uncomfortable there, but there's plenty of oxygen flowing through the blood, and you've just taken another breath in, so 60 seconds should not really be that longer time to be able to hold the breath for. Push through a little bit of uncomfortableness if you need to, but if you really feel that you need to breathe again, then feel free to relax and just breathe. And as you start to train this more and more, hopefully that's going to start to improve your capacity and being able to hold the breath there. After we've held for 60 seconds, we move into phase 2. So now phase 2 is lifting the diaphragm up. So as we exhale and pull the stomach down, we lift the diaphragm up under the rib cage as much as we can, and just a reflective inhale as we go back. Again, this will be done for 60 seconds. At the end of the 60 seconds, we're going to draw the diaphragm up, a full exhale, and then hold for a minute. So you would have just been holding the breath. Coming to the end of phase 1, what I want you to do here is exhale through the mouth. Nice long breath, let all the air out. You'll do one more inhale through the nose. Expand, and now we're going to start to work on phase 2. So exhale, all the air out, hold the diaphragm up as much as you can, and then just reflective. Okay, so we do that for 60 seconds. When you get to the end of that 60 seconds, it will be the full exhale and lifting the diaphragm up. So if I've just done a reflective inhale, Close the airways, diaphragm up, hold 60 seconds. Okay, so you might find this one a little bit harder. There's still plenty of oxygen in the blood, okay, so we can hold the breath for that 60 seconds, but now we don't have the fresh breath that we've just taken in. So this one can be a little bit trickier for some people. Again, work through a little bit of uncomfortableness if you need to, but then try to breathe if you really start to struggle. Again, over time, it will start to improve. That will be the end of phase 2, and now we work into phase 3, inhaling again through the nose, moving the diaphragm down as much as we can, expanding, and then exhaling through the mouth. Again, it's controlled this time, and as we exhale, we're trying to pull the diaphragm back up again. So now have a look at this, slow controlled breath. We've just finished holding the breath, diaphragm is up, end of phase 2. We breathe in through the nose, expand, move the diaphragm down, and then pull the diaphragm back up. So full range there, getting as much air in, breathing as much air out. When we get to the end, okay, we do one last breath, we'll exhale, pull the diaphragm up, and then again hold. So close off the airways, lifting the diaphragm up, and again 60 seconds in this position. So in total 6 minutes, the 3 phases to work through. Hopefully you'll get better at that over time if you can't hold your breath for those 60 seconds. But as I said, we're trying to train both the strength and flexibility in the diaphragm and trying to improve the capacity or the volume of oxygen that we can take into the body. I typically like to put this breathing at the end of the training routine. So when we get to the end of our session, we've been very sort of sympathetic. The body's in a state of very much fight and flight. So through breathing, we can start to control the autonomous nervous system just a little bit, and we start to activate some of the parasympathetic nervous system as we focus on breathing, so bringing the stress levels down. This helps us switch over into a recovery state a little bit faster, which means we can recover quicker between our workout sessions, so from day to day and week to week. If we can speed up recovery, there's obviously benefits with how hard we can train. We can also use this breathing at other times during the day. So if you do feel stressed at work, you are stressed at home, or just any time throughout the day you feel a little bit stressed, again, that sympathetic nervous system can be firing. Some breathing can help just calm you down. It's a little bit like meditation, where we start to use the breath as an anchor. It's just going to switch the mind into focusing on the breath and distract you from potentially some other stressful points in your life. So it's a good practice to get into, and we can train the diaphragm muscle on a regular basis, so it doesn't have to be broken up as only once a week. Try to include this after your sessions, as I mentioned. By improving the oxygen intake, so diaphragmatic breathing and being able to get more in there and expanding the lungs, obviously that's going to start to help us during our workouts or during our sport. Obviously oxygen and the aerobic energy system is great for aerobic activity, but when we're doing anaerobic stuff, lifting heavy weights, anaerobic sprinting intervals, it's the aerobic energy system that we use to help recover the anaerobic energy system. So if we can process oxygen more and get more oxygen in, then the recovery between our intervals or recovery between our big heavy lifts is going to be faster in this sense, okay? So lots of benefits from focusing on the breath work. This is just one drill that we use, but I highly recommend you start practicing and working on your breathing if managing your recovery and improving your sports performance is something that you're working towards.